Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. The last time we saw this 71 Highboy, we made it run and drive for the first time in 26 years, but now it's time to do something about the looks and all the little stuff that's wrong with it. So let's go dig into it. Well guys, like I said, the 71 Highboy here is back in the shop after we got it running. The test drive went great. This thing actually drives really nice. I was really impressed with the way it drives. But there's lots of little cosmetic things that are wrong with this thing, so now that's what we're going to tackle with this episode. The majority of it's probably going to be in the interior. We have a lot of work to do in the interior of the truck. But we have a few things on the exterior to take care of. Things like the replacement hood is an F100 hood, so it has an F100 badge. We've got to change those out to a 250. And do something with the grill. I already have one of the headlight doors installed there. I had the other one here. I had to add some of these plastic clips there broken off. We got to screw that guy on there. That'll go pretty good. You know, these are, I think these are original to the truck. I'm not exactly sure, but they kind of match the truck. The only thing that makes me kind of wonder if it doesn't is the grill has this big whammy right here, and this headlight door doesn't have that. So I don't know if this has been replaced or if this was just a replacement one that they sourced, something of that nature. You know, kind of, and it doesn't really match right there. I just noticed that. See how it's different? So that might not be the original. That might be why they are off of the truck, because the originals were all beat up and they maybe found some other ones. I'm not really sure. These were off of the truck when I bought it and just in the bed. So, but I mean, they look pretty good. The next big thing is we're missing the big door right here, or the grill insert. And that wouldn't be a big deal other than this is a 71, and a 71 is the only year that they don't make the plastic inserts for on the bump side trucks anyway. Now the truck did come with some 72s, because you can get these brand new from Dennis Carpenter. And I thought about just going ahead and putting these 72 inserts in here because they came with the truck. But I thought, man, that's going to bug the crap out of me. My OCD is going to kick in, and I'm not going to be able to stand that because this is a 71, and that's going to be the wrong grill. So what I ended up doing, I know on the last episode, I had a NOS one that I bought, and I kind of decided not to use that. For one, it didn't match the old one. It's, you know, having a brand new one there next to that old one didn't look just quite right. So I have the one that came out of the truck. This was in the bed. It was pretty beat up, is the reason I didn't initially plan on using it. The bottom of it here was busted out, and I epoxied it back together. But the biggest problem was there's clips that hold this trim piece on back in here. And I imagine, I haven't tried to do it, but I imagine when you try to take this trim piece off, they are incredibly hard to do without breaking them because it's so brittle now. And you have to take the trim piece off. There's screws back in here where you mount it to the grill, and you can't take it out without taking this trim piece off, and I'm guessing it's pretty hard to do. So my solution to that was I drilled some holes. There's a hole there. And I'm putting screws in the corner to hold the trim piece on, because the bottom clips or the bottom tabs are still there. We're just missing the top one. So rather than like glue this on or epoxy it on or something like that, I did that so it's removable, so I can put the screws in right here. So it is not the best solution, but I think it will fit the truck, you know, because it's not perfect. So just a little bitty screw in the corner won't be that noticeable. But I think it's better than having like a new part on there and an old part and it not looking correct. I think it'll look decent. So we'll see how that looks once I get it on. I also made all the tail light and marker lights work. I had to replace one of the marker lights because it was missing, but I made all that stuff work. It's missing the reflectors back here. I'm going to see if I have some. If not, that's not a big deal to not have. But the biggest problem is in here in the interior. We have a lot of work to do in here. Mainly this door is completely stripped out with the window felts and everything missing. and just generally dirty and grimy and full of parts and dirt. So I'm gonna get after something and get a direction going with this truck, and I'll fill you guys in when I get it sorted out. All right, well, I've been working at the doors. I got this door all reassembled. I got a new glass that I had in storage because it looks like the old one was busted out, and that's why this door was all disassembled to begin with. So I got new glass in it and replaced the window felts, the anti-rattle kits, and cleaned up the door card. Got a different armrest that I found in storage that was blue as well, because the one that came with this truck was black, and got some new window cranks because ones that are in it were 67s, and the one over there was the knob was all handmade, a wooden piece, so I just replaced them just with some ones I had in storage. A new armrest on that side as well that was in better shape, and I replaced the window felts on that side. I kind of debated not doing it, but I think I like it better with them matching, so I went ahead and replaced those. Wasn't that big of a deal. Also have the interior stripped out of here. We'll come back to that. I wanted to come up here and show you the grill. I don't think I showed you the end result when I got that grill insert installed. So this one over here is the grill insert we kind of patched together, glued together. And you can see the little screws I put in there. They're kind of hidden, so that works out. It kind of matches the truck. And I got the headlight doors on there as well, so it makes the, really completes the interior, or the front. Also got the 250 hood badges installed. And I got an air cleaner on it. I debated on repainting this air cleaner, and I decided just to leave it alone so it kind of matched the truck. It had been repainted in the past, was kind of why I was considering it. You can see here the light blue color, and this dark blue under here is what it should be. So it was repainted the lighter blue color, which would be incorrect for this year truck, but it's kind of weathered and matches the truck, so I left it alone. Back in here on the interior, we had some stuff that didn't work. The blinkers didn't work, the wipers don't work, horn doesn't work, emergency flashers don't work, But I did get the lights and park lamps to work after I replaced some bulbs, and the brake lights work. So we have some stuff to work with. The blower motor did work. I did try that. That radio doesn't work, but we're going to be messing with that a little bit later. So I have the gauge cluster out. Now, if you remember earlier in the episode, I talked about this truck had the idiot lights, or maybe it was the last episode on this truck, I don't know. But I thought the gauge cluster had the idiot lights on it, where it's just a light instead of like an oil pressure gauge, and the amp meter gauge is lights. Because you couldn't see through the lens here, and I couldn't see the gauges, so I just assumed they were the lights. But after I got the gauge cluster out and got it apart, I realized it does in fact have the gauges in there. I just couldn't see them. So I guess that's good. Those are upgraded option. I like those a lot better than the lights anyway. But the gauge cluster here, someone has been in here and was trying to make, looks like the, what is that, the amp meter? No, yeah, the amp meter work, and some other wires they soldered in here. So apparently something's wrong with this gauge cluster, and I couldn't get any of the lights to work other than the high beam light, even though the bulbs are good. So I think we're going to abandon that gauge cluster. Now, I went out in my parts pile and found this one that has the gauge, or the lights instead of the gauges. You can see here the back of the cluster is different. But that was before I realized this thing actually has the gauges. So I went back and found this one here that actually has the gauges. So we're going to be using this gauge cluster and put it back together with a new lens. I have a new lens here. So we'll put a new lens in it and probably throw some new bulbs in it just for good measure, and see what we can get to work on this thing. All right, so just as a reminder, this is what we started with, and here's what I just put together. So looks a lot better. We have that new lens does a lot, but I also cleaned up the gauge bezel, the plastic gauge bezel. So it was mainly just the lens that made it look so good, but I also changed all the lights in the back. One of them was burned out, so it's good to always check them. The other ones look decent, but you never know. So it has all new bulbs in it. I'm going to throw this thing in the truck, and we'll see if it all comes to life. All right, update on the wiring issues I've been having. Kind of got everything sorted out. The instrument cluster lights, let's see. You're not going to be able to see them. But I got them working. I had to end up replacing the whole light switch assembly, and it ended up being the dimmer, this right here that you rotate. See how it's not even contact in there? The dimmer was basically broken on this, so I put a new light switch in it, and that fixed those. Now the blinkers was a little bit trickier to figure out because I was chasing wires, but as you can see, I got them working. And it all boiled down to there wasn't a flasher. So this is the flasher relay, and there just wasn't one in here. So the whole system isn't going to work without a flasher relay. So somebody had taken that out at some point. I put one in there and made everything work. And on the actual emergency flashers, I just had to jiggle the flasher around, and those started working. So all the lights and everything are currently working. Now the next thing that wasn't working was the windshield wipers. And that basically got it tracked down to a bad switch. So if I can do this with one hand, I don't think I can. But anyway, I put a switch in here and made them work. And so I'll throw this in here. Apparently the switch is bad. The contacts are probably bad. A lot of this have to do with the truck sitting and a lot of stuff not ever making contact for a long time. Obviously the blinker switches because there wasn't a relay there. But getting all this stuff figured out, this is kind of one of the things you have to do when you have a truck that's been off the road for a long time, is just go through all the systems and kind of jiggle everything and make everything work. So working my way through it, I'm going to get all this buttoned back together, and we'll continue on with cleaning this thing up. Well guys, moving right along on this interior, I decided to do something about this dash pad. Now in the past, I have always dyed up new dash pads. I've done several blue ones and they turn out fantastic, but you're into it like $500–600 to do a dash pad, and kind of don't really want to spend that on this truck. And I've had this thing sitting on the shelf for like 4 years now, and I thought, well heck, what better truck to use it on than this one. So this is just a dash top cover, and it's already blue, and you basically just glue that down over the dash pad. I have all the high spots kind of cut down and broke off. This thing is super brittle. You just pretty much just snap it off. I've test fit it several times and got it kind of where it's going to sit. And I have weights and stuff and prop rods to be able to push it up whenever I get the adhesive down. So I'm letting it kind of dry right now. I'm going to get this thing, see if I can glue it down, and I'll show you guys the end result. Well, now it's the next morning. I have the dash pad kind of glued down. It turned out pretty good. Now it's not great. It's not perfect. It's definitely not going to be as nice as a fresh dyed up dash pad. It's kind of it kind of looks like your dash pad got bit by something and it's all swollen up, because it's just kind of bigger, which I guess is obvious because it's a cover that goes over the top, so it's got to be bigger. But just kind of you know, just looks off, but it looks better than a cracked up dash, I guess. Right up around here, the vents, this was the major spot where I was trying to focus the weights. I put some big weights over each vent, and it did a pretty decent job, although everything around the speaker hole was basically gone, so we didn't get much glue down here, so it is a little floppy. But overall, I think it was the right decision. It's saved a lot over getting a new dash pad and dyeing it up, and it also used up some parts I had in the shop not doing anything with, and it looks better. So win-win-win, I think. Got the dash all reassembled and started doing some cleaning, just general, just light cleaning to get everything all cleaned up because it's so grimy. Obviously, I haven't started below the dash. I've just done up here on the dash itself. Ashtray, I unfortunately did not find the ashtray anywhere in all the parts in this truck, and the closest thing I have is a white one. So we're rocking a Wimbledon white ashtray and a Wimbledon white hood, but it's better than nothing, I suppose. Since this diamond blue is such a rare color, I couldn't find one, a used one or anything like that. So we're just getting the closest I got, which is white. And for the radio, I put a factory bezel in it, and then this is just an aftermarket radio. It unfortunately doesn't work. I didn't even hook anything up. It's just basically to fill the hole, so we don't have a big hole there. The one that was in it was kind of, it didn't have a bezel and didn't look that great. So I put this aftermarket one in there. It's basically just a hole filler, and cleaned up all the controls for the heat and made sure they all worked. So all of that stuff works, and I assembled the glove box. So there, I put a different liner in there because the old one's down there. It was kind of beat up. Put a new liner in there, and got the dash pretty well taken care of. Now for the steering wheel, I'm not using the original one. I haven't cleaned this one up yet, but this is off of a different truck, and it is just ever so slightly in better shape. So I'm going to use this one. The old one was very faded, and the blue was very chalky and just didn't look great. This one doesn't look great either. It's all cracked up, and like they generally all are, but it looks better than the original. Now I did get I found a blue NOS wrap that looks just like this. It's not here yet, so I'll put a new wrap on the steering wheel. That'll kind of help. And unfortunately, the buttons are out of stock, so I got to try to make the old horn button look decent. But we'll get to that point whenever that steering wheel cover comes in. Now, moving on to everything below the dash. I think I have a blue seat in storage. I have to go look at my seats and see what I got and see what kind of condition it is in, because this one is obviously red, so that's not going to work, and the old cover is all torn up, and the seat cushion is just popping out here. So I want to get a better seat. Even if I put a cover on it, I want to get a better seat and get this one out of here. And I'm not sure on the floor just yet. I think I'm just going to clean this floor as best I can and roll with that, because if I pull the floor mat out, then we're just going to snowball into more stuff I got to deal with, and I just don't really want to mess with it. I'm going to see how good I can get the floor, because it'll work. It's good enough for this truck. I think, you know, this one's not a showpiece. And I also think we're going to be tackling the door seals and replacing those, because they're completely missing right here, and we'll get those seal plates back in it. So I'm going to go check storage and see what I got for seat, and see what we end up on the floor of this thing. All right, so kind of got an idea for the floor and the seat all figured out, so I thought I would share it with you guys. I did a test spot right here on the floor. Let me get out of the light. And it cleaned up really nice, so we're just going to do that to the rest of the floor. I mean, it's got tears and rips in it and stuff, but, you know, it doesn't need to be perfect for this truck, so we're going with that. I got the steering wheel installed. It is not as nice as I was hoping it would turn out to be. It's still pretty terrible, basically, but it's I'm going to put a new wrap on it, so that's going to make it look a little bit better. And the dang horn buttons are out of stock, and I can't find one anywhere. And I have this one, and I did make the horn work. I have the battery unhooked right now, or I'd show you. But I did make the horn work, but the button is like pulled up in the middle, and it just doesn't look great. So maybe I can find one before I sell this truck, but this might be what it gets. So, you know, it's a struggle to always want to make stuff really nice and then just kind of give up and, you know, live with what it is. Same thing with the seat. Now, we're not using this seat, and I did go into my storage, and this is the seat I was thinking about. And for some reason, I remembered it being in a lot better shape. Now, it did have this cover on it, and I started pulling the cover off, and yeah, not great. But it's in a lot better shape than that red one that's in there. So I did order a new seat cover, just a saddle blanket seat cover, a blue one, to put on this thing to make it a little nicer on the interior without going overboard. So I'm going to be putting that seat in it and pulling that red one out, and whenever that seat cover gets in, we'll put that on. I also had the idea of putting some hubcaps on this truck. Now, the Highboys did not have hubcaps other than 1967. You could get hubcaps only on the rear. So there was never hubcaps for the front. There's a lot of people that cut the centers out of these, and it confuses some people thinking that the hubcaps are original. But the Highboys of this era never had hubcaps. But that being said, there's still a cool touch to the truck. And I have these steel patinaed ones, and I thought, hey, they might match the truck. And we have these gray wheels, and I already talked about not being crazy about the gray. Well, when I put the hubcaps on, that makes me feel a lot better about it. So that keeps me from buying wheels. And I get to use up these hubcaps that I've had in storage for several years now and haven't done anything with. And as a matter of fact, I thought, yeah, at least one of them has a bent up centerpiece. So if I cut the center out of them, I won't feel as bad. So I got to cut the center out of two of these. I'll do that on the lathe. Hopefully my lathe can get big enough to grab these things. It's not a massive lathe, because these things are what, 12 inches? They're like 11 and something, so pretty much 12. We'll see if I can get a hold of it with my lathe and cut the center out. But for now, we're going to deal with that seat and that floor, and let's see what we get into in that. All right, I'm going to pull this thing out of the shop so I have a little bit more room to change this seat out and to clean this floor. This thing hasn't been started in a few days, so I thought I'd give it a shot and see how she started for a cold start. A little bit of tapping from the valve train, which is to be expected after the thing's been sitting. Thing running pretty good. I love a nice quiet truck. I know I've said that in the last episode that some people like big loud exhaust, and that's okay. Glass packs, that kind of a thing. But on one of these stock trucks like this, I just love a nice quiet exhaust. Now, I did fix that mirror over there, but I didn't adjust it, so we're dealing with the one mirror here backing out of the shop. If I can get out of here without running into anything. that'll do. All right, well, we got the thing out of the shop for the first time with the updated grill and stuff. So let's give it a look at it. I mean, it looks like an old beat up truck, but it looks like less of an old beat up truck, which is kind of what I was going for, just kind of more complete. So we have the grill now, and there's that hubcap. Let me get my hoodie out of the way so you can visualize it a little bit better. So I'm still up in the air on that. I probably won't make up my mind before the end of this episode, so you guys can give me your opinion. Now, we're going to have one on the front. I just don't have a hole cut for it yet. But, I don't know. I am a big fan of just regular steel wheels on Highboys, but I thought I would give the hubcaps a chance. But still up in the air on that. So now we got to yank this seat out of here, get this red seat out of here, and see what we can do about that floor. Now, I forgot to mention when we were in the shop, I did replace the door seals. This is like a OBS Ford seal out of like 97 to, well, I don't know what the years are, 92. And it has a metal strip in here, so there's no glue. I like those a lot better. These are a used one, and the door does shut a little bit harder, but maybe they'll break in. And, you know, it's not terrible. But it's better than a non-existent seal like it was on the bottom there. So I'm going to get the yanking that seat out of there and see what we get into on that floor. Alright, I got the interior looking a little bit more presentable. The floor mat isn't probably going to turn out as good as I would like it to be. This looks really nice here, but that's because it's wet. The other side hasn't been allowed to dry, and it pretty much just goes back to being grimy, dirty, you know, brown stain floor mat. So, you know, I could probably spray some product on there to try to get it to come back to life. But then the floor mat's going to be all greasy and slimy, and it's probably going to look weird compared to the rest of the truck. So I think I'm just going to leave it. I got the fuel tank cleaned up and just all the dirt out of here. So that is mainly the goal here. You know, I'm not trying to make it a showpiece. Just, you know, clean it up and give it a nice cleaning that it hasn't had in forever. So since we got all that taken care of, I'm going to throw that bench seat in here so I can have something to drive it around. And we are pretty much done with the interior, so I'm going to knock that out. Alright guys, well, we're back in the Highboy, driving around. Got the seat in it here, and unfortunately, as you might be able to tell, I'm not sure if we're going to be using this seat or not. I am sitting about a foot lower than I should be, I feel like. I'm bottoming out the seat every bump I hit, so the springs on the bottom of this bench aren't any good. So I'm going to have to see if I can find another bench seat, because I definitely don't want to use this one because it's just uncomfortable and not the best place to be in when you're driving the thing. So I guess that says you should test out your bench seats before you throw them in a truck. So I have several other options. I'll see what I find, and you know, hopefully we have something better than this one. The interior I thought turned out really nice between cleaned up floor mat, the glued on dash pad, all the stuff we put together like the radio, the ashtray, and the cleaned up gauge bezel, made the blinkers and stuff work, and then ending it off with cleaning up the doors and putting new glass and window felts in. I thought the interior turned out better than I was expecting in this truck. Now remember, it's not meant to be perfect. You know, the floor mat is pretty old and tired and ripped and torn and stained, and same thing, the steering wheel is all cracked up, and we have rust showing through the paint, you know, in spots, and just patina everywhere. But that is the theme of this build, I suppose. You know, not perfect, but good enough. The door panels turned out really nice. I'm really happy with those. And I put some nice, decent blue armrest on it. I actually put an NOS one on that side. So really nice. Really cleans up the interior, makes it more a more pleasant place to be. So I think we're going to end this episode off. I hope you guys enjoy the more detailing aspect of this video. We weren't really fixing a bunch of stuff. We fixed a few things. More of it was just cleaning. This thing just needed a good deep cleaning. Next time on this truck, we're going to be fixing the wiper seals on the Dana 44 front axle, the closed knuckles wiper seals. We're going to be topping off the closed knuckle lubricant, and we're also going to be resealing the output shafts on the Dana 24 transfer case. So be looking out for that. Hit subscribe so you can see when that happens. Give me a thumbs up if you like this truck and like this build. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching, guys.